Guatemala. We are on our way into La Aurora International Airport. I flew this approach yesterday and bombed it, and when I do that, I like to fly them again the next day. Well, not necessarily the next day. I like to fly them just to make sure I don't, just to kind of clear up whatever it was that that I did. In this particular case, I'm fairly certain that I just was completely incompetent. It's a little bit different of an approach. I'll show you here in a sec. Let's get my range rings in. This is the only thing I didn't do before. This is the only thing I didn't do before to get myself set up. La Aurora traffic, American 1027 is 20 miles to the north. Inbound runway 02, La Aurora. And yeah, so this is the why am I either the graph on the chart is off, or the scale on the chart is off, or I'm not going where I'm supposed to be going. So we already have an indication that this approach might not go much better than the last one did. The thing that's a little unusual about it is this: you come into the VOR, then you're outbound, and then come around here. It's sort of like a DME arc, but not really. So we may not be doing a whole lot better than we did yesterday. Alright, so Quetzal to Aurora. And then outbound. Alright, I mean it looks like it's set up properly, but I'm quite skeptical. And as a matter of fact, I am really going to start slowing down right now, because there's the first degree of flaps. I mean, it should have crossed Aurora at 185. And it clearly wasn't going to do that. So let's go flaps 5 here. And we're right over top of the airport. How cool is this? Look at this. This is looking much better today than it did yesterday.
Aurora traffic lag 1819, runway clear, taxi to cargo ramp.
Okay. That's doing this. gonna say it's doing the same thing it did yesterday, but it's not. La Aurora traffic, American 1027 is outbound on the ILS Yankee approach, runway 02, La Aurora. And the weather is wild, check this out. Alright, I'm gonna go gear down flaps 15 because this is a real quick turn here. I'm gonna speed brakes and I'm gonna bring it right back to 148 because that is our flaps 30 here before the turn. La Aurora traffic, American 1027, turning a 5 mile final, runway 02, La Aurora. Okay. Pretty soon we should be able to go. Do our localizer. And now we got the, okay.
$2,500.
La Aurora traffic, American 1028, 5 mile final, runway 02, La Aurora. Alright, there's flaps 40.
Airspeed low. Airspeed low.
This is kind of a wacky approach. It's high altitude. It's high altitude, which makes things challenging in their own right. And there's terrain, there's all kinds of fun stuff here. All throttles are mine. Actually fairly pleased with
1,000.
this. A little bit more power.
$400. Terrain.
Yep.
Minimums. $100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
was past the touchdown zone, which should be an automatic go around. But I have to say, I'm not terribly displeased with that approach. It's not an easy one, to say the least. It's pretty tricky to do well, as I just proved. La Aurora traffic, American 1027's cleared the runway. La Aurora. If you ever want somebody to prove that an approach can be flown poorly, just ask me to do it. But seriously though, I think that was at the very least respectable. Feel free to disagree. I'm not going to argue with you. But I mean, it's a tight little approach with some terrain. You've got to configure and turn and get down, and like I said, it's high out. You know, it's a high altitude approach, almost 5,000 feet above sea level, and what that means is your true airspeed is a lot higher than you'd normally be landing at. Your true airspeed being the speed at which you're actually traveling through the air, because the air, you know, we're a mile above sea level. The air is actually, you know, pretty thin compared to, let's say, Miami. And so you're traveling quicker. I didn't have a chance to look at like the ground speed. But I wouldn't be terribly surprised if the ground speed was relatively quick on that one. You know, I'm not trying to make it could have been better. You know, I know that what I was really keeping an eye on, of all things, was I just wanted to make sure I wasn't exceeding that 1,000 feet descent rate. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the big one, was the descent rate. You know, stabilized approach criteria. And I did pretty well at that. And I'm an instrument rated pilot, but your instrument scan at 150 knots has got to be quite a bit quicker than your instrument scan at, you know, 20 knots, which is what I usually fly. You know, just what I usually fly approaches at. And so it's just challenging, and you've really got to keep your eyes moving. And the thing I think that we also tend to forget, you know, in playing our, you know, playing airline captain, is that this is by no means a single pilot aircraft, you know. So I think that's pretty much good on shutting everything down. You know, so this is by no means a single pilot airplane. Oh, I almost had it. I always try to park right on the money. I've gotten about 2 of them right my entire life. But anyway, I was pretty pleased with that approach, and